Today you have the absolute misfortune of watching this video. I was in the mood to film something, but I couldn't really figure out what, and then I decided that I would film how I used to do my makeup in middle school. Now we're a few years out of middle school, so I don't necessarily have the same exact products, but I do have products that I can use to create a similar look. I'll also be posting some photos up throughout the video to kind of show you how my makeup looked in high school. I don't really have any photos of myself from middle school. I have some school photos, but those were in yearbooks, and I don't know where those are. I absolutely do have face makeup that is too dark for my skin, because I think that was just a requirement of everyone in the mid to early 2000s. In middle school, I really had two different sorts of eyeshadow looks. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping back and forth between what I'm actually doing and what I'm talking about, but I'm going to start with eyeshadow. Even to this day, I start with eyeshadow just because I know I'm going to mess something up. But I started doing that in middle school. I think it was a TikTok trend for a little bit. I'm not on TikTok, so I get everything delayed. But I think it was a TikTok trend recently to give yourself like these sleepy eyes, which basically was like puffy looking eyeshadow almost. And I would just like to say, I think I'm the trailblazer on that eyeshadow because I definitely did that in middle school. I definitely thought I was being mysterious or something by giving myself bruised eyes. I'm using my Huda Beauty new nude eyeshadow palette to do that because it has a lot of these kinds of mauvey, bruisey tones. So I have somewhat hooded eyes, more hooded eyes than a lot of people I knew. And I didn't really know how to do makeup because I didn't watch anything on YouTube, none of that around this time. And so when I did eyeshadow, I pretty much always kept it on this part of the eyelid here, the movable part, I guess. And it did not look good. I had this red Super Shock eyeshadow from ColourPop that I used to use religiously, and I would just smudge it on my eyelid, not even putting it above the crease. Per the sleepy, mysterious eyeshadow look, I'm gonna bring it down a little bit too far. A little bit where you look like, does that girl have pink eye? Maybe. I don't know. I never used eyeshadow primer, and basically I only had two eyeshadow looks. I had this, which I'm just gonna keep calling the sleepy eye, and then I also had the one red eyeshadow on my movable eyelid, and those were the two looks that I could do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to purple it up a little bit, try to make it a little bit more bruisey. I'm already spending much more time on this than I used to. I used to just throw this sucker on and call it a day and go to school. Also, I was gonna ask you to excuse my unplucked eyebrows, but that actually is pretty par for the course for my middle school experience. So I think we're being very authentic here. We're looking very irritated, which honestly is probably a mix of the eyeshadow and this Eco Tools brush that I've been using since middle school, which is extremely rough and scraggly and is actually irritating my eyes. So I just put on an absolutely horrifying amount of this LA Girl Shockwave eyeliner in just black on my waterline, and it is absolutely unblended and just really defining my small tiny eyes. Next I'm gonna go ahead and just put on some mascara and we can move on to my face. So you might notice that in my other videos where I'm doing makeup, like my get ready with me's, I don't put mascara on my bottom lashes. One reason for that is that my bottom lashes are very long, so I just think it looks a little spidery. The second reason for that is that it'll cause smudging because I have very oily eyelids. So I dug through my mom's makeup bag because she has stuff from like 2007 in there, and to look for a foundation. She is a little bit darker than me. I wouldn't say that my foundation in middle school was horrendously darker than my skin, but it definitely was the lightest shade in what drugstore ranges had at the time, which was still too dark. So I have the L'Oreal True Match foundation, and then I have this Klairs Illuminating Blemish Cream. So let's see which one is probably a little bit better. This is the Claire's. To be honest, I might even just mix them. And you know for a fact I used my hands to, oh, that's very liquidy. I used my hands to blend this in. That one is definitely pretty dark. I think I remember this one oxidizing. I think I'll go with this one. That one is probably closer to what I used to wear. Am I worried that this is gonna make me look like the Sahara Desert? Absolutely. Have I ever tried this foundation before? Maybe once. And I literally just remember it oxidizing. So, we will see. Big part in middle school too was full coverage. So, I'm just gonna slather a lot of this on here and hope for the best. I remember my mom telling me that I used too much foundation, and I told her that something to the effect of like that's how makeup is, when it obviously was just how I did my makeup, but she was very correct. Yeah, this is pretty offensive. I'm also, as you can see, wearing a higher neck shirt, just so we don't really have to worry about the comparison between my neck and my face. I'm so dry. I'm like unbelievably dry right now. I even really did some skin prep before this video, which I would not have done in middle school. It's not that I'm necessarily trying to make this look bad, even though I'm kind of making fun of how I used to do my makeup. It's just that it really looks bad. I see texture that I didn't even know I had. So the reason I went so full coverage is because I had some pretty bad acne in middle school. And I mean, obviously you think, oh, well, I have acne, then I need a ton of stuff to try to cover it. Turns out the less stuff you put on your acne, the less, oh God, the less noticeable it is. Even when I get flare-ups, I always kind of regret putting tons and tons of concealer on my face. The palette I used to really achieve that look was the L'Oreal, is there 10 eyeshadows in it? It had a really nice mauve-y purple shade, and L'Oreal eyeshadows, at least back then, were not very good. So it was very, very sheer. So back in middle school, I used the e.l.f. powder foundation. It came in a little square compact and had a little tiny square sponge brush, but I don't have that anymore. And the only powder I have, really pressed powder now, is this Revlon Color Stay one. So I will be, unfortunately, swiping this all over my dry face. And yes, there definitely is skin in my hairline. It's just, you know, beauty is pain, and my pain currently is emotional. So I'm just gonna smear this around and pat it all over my face, because my face isn't already matte enough. And this is already looking different because the e.l.f. powder that I used was skin tone color. It technically, I think, was translucent, but translucent powders a lot of times, even if they have a tiny hint to them, will darken up my foundation. Nowadays when I do makeup, I don't really ever put product on my nose. If I put product on my nose, it's residual. But in the past, the nose was fair game. I would put everything that would go on the rest of my face on my nose. And I realized, thanks to my mom, that your nose is actually what makes your foundation look less skin-like. But I will say somehow, I think that made my base look a little bit better. I don't know how that worked, but maybe middle school me was onto something. Now that we've got that really good base of foundation on, I'm going to make the executive decision to use some blush. I barely ever used blush. If I did, it was kind of a bronzy shade in a e.l.f. face quad, which I can also try to find a picture of. This is my mom's palette. It is the Sephora Winter Flush palette, and I'm going to use this brownish color here. And I definitely in middle school used this Eco Tools angled brush, and I 100% always used it on this angle. I didn't use blush a lot. I started using it closer to high school, but I have a very naturally red face, so I guess I thought that if I didn't use blush it would look better, because why am I gonna put full face of foundation on and then make my face red? 15-year-old me logic, I guess. And I put this on the very traditional places where you put blush. Woohoo! As you can tell, it's really grabbing on to pretty much every little bit of skin texture I have. I'm gonna help myself out a little bit because again, I'm not trying to make this look bad. I'm gonna take my translucent powder and a big fluffy brush and just kind of blend it until it won't blend anymore, especially this side. Unfortunately, that means we have to do eyebrows next. This blush is really making me sad. And also, this lighting doesn't help, but this full face of makeup definitely accentuates my forehead wrinkles. For my eyebrows, I used to use that like $1 or $2 e.l.f. chunky eyebrow pencil, but I don't have it anymore, and I use a very, very thin eyebrow pencil if I even pencil them in at all anymore. Since I don't have that, I'm gonna use this Give Cosmetics, I don't know, eye pencil, because it is a little bit thicker and it's very, very creamy. And if I can find the pictures, I will put them up, but I used to really pencil in my eyebrows, like really. So let's go ahead and pencil these puppies in. So my eyebrows are naturally very uneven. This one has more of a rounded shape and this one has more of an angled shape just by nature of how they grow. This one also has more brow hair. So whenever I fill this one in even a little bit, it automatically looks a lot more intense than this one. You can definitely see that in this situation, and I did not ever try to fix that. Okay, we're kind of nearing the end here. The last thing is lips. So I used a lot of different lips. This was kind of my crazy lip color era. I did find when I was rummaging through my mom's makeup stuff, this Too Faced Melted Metal Liquefied Metallic lipstick that I used to use, but I eventually ended up giving her. So this thing is old. It's gotta be like a decade old. So we're gonna try this on. It's definitely not safe for use, but you never know. And I'm not, of course, gonna remove the foundation from my lips. Oh yeah. Same plastic taste. I also got this from a TJ Maxx, mind you, so it's probably even older. Okay, so there is the melted metal lipstick. Looks great. The actual lipstick I'm gonna go with is this Lisa Eldridge lipstick in Velvet Blush. This is pretty akin to some colors I used to use. It's kind of a dark mauve berry. I love this lipstick, but the whole thing, everything put together, is just making it hard to really look at myself. Also no lip liner, and I always filled in my lips crooked. Now, to be fair to my middle school self, I still kind of fill in my lips crooked because the shape of my lips just are a little bit odd, but I kind of look like a grandmother. Okay, and this is the final look. I feel very textured, I feel very orange, and I know for a fact if I kept this on, I would sweat right through it and then look even worse than I already do. I thought this would be just kind of a funny video to go ahead and do, but it also is interesting to do as well because it makes you realize how far you've grown in a sense, not even just for makeup, but even as a person. And this is gonna sound really weird and really deep, and it's literally just a makeup video, but whatever. The amount my personality has changed from middle school all the way to now, I mean, there's a reason why I was doing full coverage. There was a reason I was doing these funky lip colors. There was a reason why I did these weird, mysterious, sleepy eyes. It's interesting to see how it all kind of ties back to my old personality and just kind of the things going on in my head around that time. Again, that's a really weird and a really deep kind of way to look into this whole challenge, but just thought it was an interesting little retrospective. I hope you enjoyed seeing some old pictures of myself. I know I didn't, and I will see you in the next video. Hopefully it's a little less mentally scarring.